Have you been struggling with a body weight or self-image problem? Do you have pain in your body? Are you living with frequent colds or the flu? Or even worse, a diagnosed incurable disease? How would you like to hear that none of these issues are real? How would you like to hear that all of these problems are illusions, figments of your imagination, created by incorrect information and limited beliefs? In fact, it's my life passion and purpose to inform you that you don't have to live a life in lack or limitation any longer. I am here to say the poverty mindset can become a thing of your past. You can step into your abundance. You don't have to be controlled by fear or anxiety. You can fix or heal your relationships. You can raise up your energy. You can learn to love yourself. You can step back into the very best version of you. You can heal your life. It's totally up to you. It's your choice. It's your decision. You are the power that can do this. You are the creator of your life. Each and every single one of us has this power. We all have access to the infinite divine root energy that is available to each and every one of us. We can command and direct this power out into our lives. We all need to get the truth. We all need new information. We all need to overcome the brainwashing. Every one of us needs to stop the incorrect thoughts. We all must rise above the wrong, limited beliefs that we have accepted and allowed to form our current reality. The truth is, you have the power. You can lose the weight and keep it off for the rest of your life. The truth is that there is no pain or disease that is permanent. There is no circumstance that you are stuck in. You can overcome any situation that you wish to in your life. You can do it now. You can begin today. You do not need any pills. You don't need any potions. You don't need to buy any powders or any medications. You have everything that you need to change your life. Welcome to my weekly YouTube broadcast show about weight loss, about healing, and about improving performance in any aspect of your life. I'm your host, John DePass, the Melon Man. Hey everybody, the Melon Man back again. And this week I've got Todd Medina. I've seen Todd on one of his YouTube shows. I saw him interviewing somebody. He was talking about soul energy, and I'm a spirit guy, and that sort of work really resonates with me. Anything that talks about healing the body, healing the mind, raising the energy, raising the vibration speaks to me deeply. And so Todd's show, Soul Speaks, Solargy One Studios, has been running for 7 years. He's done over 700 shows. It's a huge success and growing. And I just want to try to pick his brain a little bit after having all of that interaction time with so many people. He's must have learned a ton of information about raising energy, about healing the self. And I want to see if I can tease some of that out of him today. Todd, how did you get into this? What led you down this path?
Well, let's see. I think like a lot of people, that woke up, quote unquote, woke up. There was a succession of traumatic experiences. And so about 7.5 years ago, I chose to go homeless and, by my own volition. And I walked the streets for most of 2 years. Uh, and when I did that, I was given the name Sology by the you, me, we, and it. And I just opened up a Facebook group and I started writing from a flip phone, just a little flip phone, no pictures. And from there, it just went to, I got off the streets after a couple of years. I got a laptop. I started putting my words to pictures, like they call them memes or whatever. And then I got another, I think about 4 years after it started, 2 years after I was off the street, I got another suggestion from the universe, which was Sology One Studios. And I'm like, what is that? And they're like, just go downstairs and clear your downstairs and make a studio. So I went downstairs. By now I had just gotten a smartphone. I didn't have internet service. I had a computer that I wrote on, and I started and I had a cheap little set of speakers, and I would turn on the speakers, play some music, and recite my poetry or my soul speak. And then from there, I started making live videos where I would just, I would rap or dance or speak, commentate, and then one day, about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, my beloved, my divine partner, suggested to me, because I had a couple of talk shows. She said, "Why don't you call it Soul Speaks 5D and get serious about it?" And so we've done probably about 3,000 productions altogether, but close to 700 Soul Speaks 5D. It's a conversation with, that's the name of it. And that's how it started, and that's how it evolved. Just by the seat of our pants.
So cool. So cool. You talked about traumatic experiences. Do you think that we have to go through traumatic experiences?
No, I don't. I think that people talk about Blu-rays. They talk about first waivers or way showers. I think it's real easy to get caught up in labels, but I do think there's a distinct group of people on the earth that came down here with a very specific group mission. Most of those people, many of those people that have been on my show, I would put in that category. There's an unseen hand that's kind of moved us into connecting with each other. Their stories are all very similar. They've all gone through some serious traumatic experiences, and many other similar characteristics, such as being a black sheep in a family, feeling like they weren't from here, feeling like they didn't fit in. So, but no, I think that these folks and people like them kind of break down energetic doors. And so, no, I think as more time goes on, there's the possibility and the probability and certainly the potential of being able to go through these shifts and elevations with more ease and grace for those that come behind us.
So that's interesting. The people that you've found, that you've spoken to, all of them seem to have gone through traumatic experiences.
Yeah, pretty much every one of them. Yeah. I'm talking about the Lisa Transcendence Browns and the Shekinah Roses. Yeah, they're pretty much across the board. They've gone through a succession of traumatic experiences. Now,
yeah,
I think that was a little different for that group. Now, what I think is happening now is, like the old Zen proverb says, you can let go or be dragged. So what's happening now is you have kind of a microcosmic situation with everybody. And what's happening is, as the energies come down and afford you the opportunity to expand, you can either pay attention and cooperate or get your ass kicked and be dragged. So in a sense, there are people that are going through many dark nights of the soul, many, as M-I-N-I, but also M-A-N-Y, because the universal energy now is not going to allow anything but pure love and the straight truth to be supported. Anything that's not is going to earn a big slap in the face or a kick in the ass, pretty much.
So then I'm resonating 1000% with what you're saying. And I got to say this to you. Have you felt then that you have been almost like you've been forced to move in this direction?
Yeah. I think in the beginning, with the successive traumas, it didn't make any sense. And a lot of people
Yes.
that I'm speaking of, they say the same thing. But I mean, so on one hand, here I went with, I've got 6 kids. I mean, here I go with kids in my house for 23 years, married most of my life, good job, 6-figure incomes, this and that. All this stuff went down to nothing. And then I walk out of my house with nothing but 2 suitcases, a briefcase, and a box of mementos. And on one hand, I was, as a human, I was at a hole in my heart. I was like totally effed up. But on the other hand, I was liberated. So the whole time, to answer your question, through all these 7.5 years, although it's gotten easier over the last year or so, there's always this push that the work continues every day. The work continues no matter where you're at, no matter what the situation is, and there's been many of them, out on the street again, all kinds of stuff, just.
But the work,
but
the work must continue.
The work, the mission must continue.
This is it.
Yeah. And that's what
resonate with that.
And that's what people that are friends of mine and people that I've had on the show, that's what they do. Shakina Rose, my sister in Sedona, she's been there about 10 years. She's been there working the land every single day. She channels harmonic light language. She's connected every day. It's her job. Lisa Brown lives down the road. She's, a lot of these people have been in solitude, living a hermit's life, but every day they go to work. And so, yeah, I think very much so. But it's a little bit of a fine line at first. I think it's a very powerful communion that you have on an individual basis, which can kind of rock your world a little bit. And you might think you're the son of Jesus or Archangel Michael or the Galactic Federation's commander, and you can get caught up in the labels and the stories, just like you can with the traumas from the past or the future, what it will be, So, but because the thing is, there's the human side of it, and the human is the hero. So the human is, to me, the most important aspect we have, because with all our multidimensionality, if the human isn't aligned, there is no alignment. There is no consistent alignment. Let's put it that way. You pop in and pop out, and I know so many people, including myself, who spend so much time up in the ethers talking to the angels and the galactics and having divine episodes, and that you almost forget the human. You dehumanize, and it's important that we embody everything into our human, or it's not real, as my beautiful wife says.
Amazing. So, you've already kind of referred to it. You talked about the universe speaking to you. You talked about an inner voice. You mentioned you, me, and we, as if there's some sort of collective consciousness that we're all a part of. Can you elaborate on that and what that means and how I fit into that maybe and how you fit into that?
You know, that's a big question. I think that thank you. I think there's been a lot of over the years. I call it the yogi guru BS, basically. I think we've moved into a different state now. I think in terms of, oneness. I mean, ultimately, there's one. Okay, so I just leave it at that. In terms of how it's all, the fractals, that we're all fractals, and that there's monads, and then there's soul tribes, and there's this and that, planets, and I don't really pay much attention to it. It's too complicated for me. When I say the you, me, we, and it, I'm speaking of the energy that we all share, that we all are, the God, goddess substance. It's just my way of paying respect to anything and everything and bringing equanimity, equality, integration, oneness, to that power, because it's all the same thing. I mean, I'm sitting on a beach. I'm going to go jump in the water later. I jump in the water speaks to me. The wind speaks to me. The earth speaks to me. A person speaks to me. Everything that we come across in every moment is something we've, without trying to sound like a cliche, it's something we pulled up in front of us. It's something that we arranged to hear and to see and to feel and to touch and taste, and and it has a message for us. Everywhere you go, it has a message. In the room that you're sitting in, there's a message. There's sacred geometry in your windows. There's something about that picture over your left shoulder. There's something about the drawers you have in the corner over there. Everything has a message. Everything is energy. It's all the same energy. So I try to stay, as I've gotten to this point with some great friends and great teachers and great conversations, is just to stay present in this moment, because the past can't hurt me and the future can't help me. You know what I mean? And that's not always easy to do. And I think that aligning with your purpose does allow you a higher probability to sustain the vibration of being present in the present moment. And then, I think of course, the number one thing is just the what people talk about, self-love, and that type of thing. I mean, that is it, really. As that quotient goes up, everything matches you. Well, it matches you anyway. It's just smarter to feel good about yourself. But anyway, that's kind of my long extended explanation of what I think is a changing pattern for all of us. There's no more separation. There's no more pedestals. We're all the same, and we're all gods and goddesses, and we can learn just like right now in this moment, both ways.
Awesome. So just to clarify what you're saying there, copy this back to you. I'm growing just hearing you say things that deeply resonate with me, and things that I feel I've said, and I love hearing it from another person. God, goddess, doesn't matter. Oneness, it's all the same thing. Jesus Christ, Buddha, Hare Krishna, Allah, it doesn't make a difference. You're talking about the energy of our universe. It's the same energy as love. It's the same energy that's within us. It is the universal energy. It is the energy of our dimension. It's the energy that makes everything work. It holds the planets in orbit, if the planets are even in orbit, or whether or not we're on a flat plane. Who knows? But the important thing is that there is just one force, and we all have access to it.
Yeah.
whether or not we pray to Jesus, whether we get down on our knees or whether we face the east, it doesn't make a difference.
That's right. Yeah. Everything is the same pure energy. You know, I would say everything is, from a human definition, everything's pure love. You know, people talk about dark, they talk about the Matrix, they talk about the Cabal, the Illuminati, fourth dimensional, nefarious, archonic entities, reptilians. Look, you cannot divorce yourself from any aspect of the universe. That means you have to open your heart to every aspect of the universe and trust that it's all the same energy. It's all pure love. So, you know, I mean, separation is separation. Every instance that we live, every moment, every interaction that we have in our heads here, there's an opportunity for oneness or separation, and it's a, because of our conditioning, it's a process. It's a process. I've had to learn. I like to laugh, and I've had to learn not to be sarcastic. Even if I don't say something to somebody, but if I think it, that is separation. I'm creating a line of superiority and inferiority in my own mind. That is separation. So I've had to make a conscious effort not to be sarcastic, even though the human says, oh, I don't mean it, I'm just making a joke. But the fact is, there is no middle ground. There is no middle ground. There's either what's true and what's not true. And we live in an age now, a lot of people call it the Great Divide. And we live in an age now where there is no middle ground. And whatever energy that you're putting out there, but whether it be sarcasm and the illusion of separation and the consciousness of separation, or it be the oneness and the truth, whatever energy you're putting out there is going to be in your face and magnified. And that's why I say over and over the Zen proverb, let go or be dragged. You can either jump in the river and get in the flow, or you can resist. There's no middle ground. There's no group in the middle, you know.
You got to be love. You got to be on side and in alignment with love.
Yeah, and it's a consistent, conscious way of life. It's a lifestyle that you the more time you put into it, the easier it gets. You know, it's a conscious, consistent effort that you make to yourself, and you take the whole world out of the equation. You take all the external focus out of the equation, you put it on yourself, and what ends up happening is your matching vibrations are coming to you with in direct proportion to the progress and expansion that you make within yourself. So it's like you do for one, you do for yourself, you do for the world. You can only love the world as much as you love yourself. You know, so it's all parallel. You know, love is truth. It's the same thing. You know, I cannot love you unconditionally, truly, in the most drilled down sense, micro, without trusting you unconditionally. Love is trust, it's truth, it's freedom, it's sovereignty, it's soul, spirit. It's all the same thing.
Awesome. How old are you, sir?
57, last December the 9th. Yeah.
Amazing.
But actually about 23. No, probably 33, actually. I'd say 33, not 23.
Okay, the message is to accept and love it all. So you said we're all at different places and points, and you know, we're all in different circumstances and situations that are around us. You know, is it that the lesson that's around us is to teach us how to accept it and how to love it? Are we put into that situation to learn how to accept it and how to love it?
You know, I think, I go back to what I said earlier. Everything you experience, everything that comes before you, it's all the same thing. It's all the same, you know, it's not a place, it's a it's motion. In other words, it's always the same trajectory. Yes, a lesson to me is, it's kind of a 3D term, I guess, for me. I think what it is everything is offering you the opportunity to take another step towards what we call oneness, and that's all there is to it. So if you identify with the political brand, if you identify with a label, father, son, husband, I'm sorry, but every one of these things is creating a line of differentiation. So everything is allowing us to move at our own pace towards what we call oneness. And we can look at them. Yes, some of them definitely felt like lessons, and sometimes you still get them. But people talk about shadow work. They talk about inner work. And me, like many other people, resisted the idea that I had a shadow in this department or that department or this department. And I've come to learn through working closely with my wife, who's been a energy practitioner for almost 20 years. So it's been a luxury for me, but I planned it that way, right? So my point is I've come to understand that when I feel uncomfortable, when something throws me off balance, I've come to realize if I can get through that and figure out why, and sometimes you don't even have to know why. You can just use energetic processes and practices and modalities to actually integrate it and in so many terms bring it into your heart as you. If you can get through that, there's a huge elevation on the other side. So I think it's a good practice when she coined the phrase with me a long time ago, it's never them, it's always me. So anything that happens is never something external, it's always a message for me. What is it trying to tell me? What is it that I can learn from this? It's not about, oh, so-and-so did this to me. Oh, so-and-so did this to me. As an example, I had a pattern that kept showing itself in my life for 2, 3, 4 years. It had to do with women. And it wasn't until I understood that this was happening to me, not because I desired it and not because I was trying to make it happen, but because something was active in my energy field that was drawing that energy to me, you see, that I was unaware of. And once I was able to get past that, it went away. It went away. So I don't know. Everybody's different, but I do think there's some common denominators as far as getting through. I say getting through the ascension, expanding, growing, elevating, and I believe that the number one thing is to recognize what we call your shadow, and I don't think that's a bad word, to get to the goal. To get to the goal. Which, in a nutshell, is something makes you feel uncomfortable. It ain't about anything external. It's about something in you. What is it? And
kind of, find out how to settle into it, be with it, accept it, and then actually love it. Be able to laugh about it, to have fun with it, to be playful and childlike within that circumstance that's had you so uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's a good point too, because a few months ago, a big thing for me was, and I think for a lot of masculine energetic incarnations, or which I'm saying is primarily men, but there are female incarnations that are masculine energies and vice versa. But I think one of the things that's real difficult for the predominantly masculine physical human being is that to be in touch with your emotions, right? So a few months ago, I started to do what you just said. And I would say, something would happen and I'd get pissed off.
Yeah.
And I'd tell my wife, who again, 20 years energy practitioner,
Yeah.
she'd say, well, you want to clear it? And I'd say, no, I don't. I want to be angry. I want to sit in this room and be angry and throw a pissy fit by myself, alone, me and the universe. Or it would be sadness, or it would be lack, or I don't know, just whatever emotion. But mostly it was just like pain, anger, sadness, whatever.
Just feel it. Just
And I
feel it.
would, yeah.
Just
And
sit with it. Feel it. Just feel it.
Yeah.
Just be with it. It's okay.
And that was, that's a great comment that you made, because that was a big, big deal for me. And I'd been on the path for, at least 7 years at the time. So
yeah,
I've done a lot of work. But yeah, I think that's a big deal. And I think that is a big thing for the masculine energy. And I'm talking energy within each person. And then, of course, as it goes into the external, a man or, whatever. But I think that's a big deal right now. And I think that's a prominent energy this past year. And
really resonates with me what you're saying there. Like that right now in particular, that I've been going through some really emotional stuff and feeling that, and I've been inviting it up, and now I'm like, I've been being hit by it. I invited it up, and I'm really been getting hit by it, and I've been doing that, like thinking in my head that she needs to do something, or he needs to do something different, or they need to do something. And what you said there about it, it's not them. It's not them.
That's right.
It's me.
That's right. And
Okay.
it's not, it's not something that we're accustomed to. But when you start doing it, it becomes easier, and your life becomes easier. I mean, I've been in, as an example, I've been in a relationship for 3 years, and it's evolved. We never saw each other for the first year and a half. She lived in Australia, and I live in the U.S. And, but now we're married. We're living together in Hawaii. And
Wow.
it's a fantasy, but my point is each month, each quarter, whatever, it's gotten easier and easier. But it's gotten easier and easier because I've taken more and more and more of whatever occurs onto myself, and there's less projecting. She was a lot further ahead than I was, which the feminine energy, that's pretty much how this worked. The feminine energy's been holding space. We're talking energy here. So Mother Earth is masculine and feminine. Mother Earth's feminine energy, the real strength, had been holding space for the masculine energy, which was out of whack. My point is that the more that I learned to take responsibility for whatever was happening, the less issues I had. And I didn't have those, like you were talking about. They need to do something, or they did this, or they did that. I can look back and laugh at it now, but it's true, and I think it's true for all of us. But there's another thing I'd say too, is that I can say whatever to you, and you can say whatever to me, and we can hear whatever from other people. But until you experience it, you're never going to get it. So I think that goes back to what you said earlier about emotions and feelings and sitting with them. It's kind of hard to go into a situation and go, oh, I'm pissed off, I'm going to learn to love this. But it's not that. It's just you let it wash over you, and you accept it, and you own it, and you do love it. You do love it, I mean, a lot of people talk about having multidimensional aspects, higher self. I'm going to call them all in. Let's have a conference. Let's have a meeting, a council. But what about sadness? And what about the little boy at 9 years old that got hurt, or the husband that went through a divorce, or all these other little pieces of you? They're still you. You know what I mean? So, like you said, you sit with it, and I don't know. You learn. You can't divorce yourself from any aspect of the universe, why would you think you could divorce yourself from any aspect of you? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's crazy. But I think too that this year's been a really good year for the world. It really has, and I think 2019 is going to be huge. I think it's going to be huge. I think you're going to see a lot of people manifesting the fairy tales, the miracles, and it's growing, man. We are writing the new blueprint. We're writing the new template. We are. It's like we've taken the Akashic record. We came into this, all these incarnations on Earth, be it 1 or 10,000, and we've taken the Akashic, and now we have this experience of having lived in this sleep and in this conditioning and in this waking up. And we have all that experience to throw on top of the Akashic we brought in here. That's why I believe that the whole universe is on the edge of their seats looking at us going, whoa, where's this going to go? You know, I don't believe it's predestined. I believe there's a template laid out. And I believe as God as creators that we're creating a new good book, basically. You know, as the cycle of cycles ends, they'll be talking about John and Todd and this person and that person 5,000 years from now, 500 years from now, 10,000 years from now. You know what I mean? And the other thing I would say too, it always brings me back to the present, because we can talk about all this stuff. How the hell are we supposed to know how all this works? Like you said, are the planets there, or is it just an overlay? You know, is the Earth flat, round, or hollow? Who gives an F? Because I'm only going to get one chance to be Todd Medina, and you're only going to get one chance to be John. And I can promise you, down the road, when we're some other aspect, you know, eons of time down the road, going through some other incredible saga, we are going to call out to a force that lives within us, like an Archangel Michael, but the name's going to be Todd or John. And it's going to be this incarnation, through its courage and its guts and its failures and its successes and its loves and its expansion, that experience we're going to pull from, or our loved ones, you know, or the world or the universe or whatever. But we only get one chance to be here. And the last thing I'd say is, why the hell would we be 99% conscious with less than 1% of our aspect, and it not be the other way around? You know what I mean? It not be, hey, we've got all of our aspects here all of the time. You know? No, there's a reason. The human is the hero. And I know some people might disagree with that, but it only makes sense. We're like the dog chasing its tail.
Fasting.
Fasting? I've only fasted, what did I fast for, I think? Oh, well, I fasted for, actually I did. I fasted for 9 days. No, I didn't. I fasted for 3 days in a pyramid that I lived in for 9 days. I have a lot of friends that fast. My wife's got some excellent research and understanding on fasting. I think it's a powerful, powerful tool. Dick Gregory, who's since passed, rest in power, he was a big, big proponent of fasting. I would say this, I'm not an expert on fasting. I do understand how it works. But I will say this, from my own opinion, I think we've moved out of linear into quantum. And I don't think what applied before applies now. Okay? Everything is the same energy. Some people may disagree with me, but I can sit down with a McDonald's hamburger and I can alchemize it. Okay, it's the same energy. All right, I lived homeless on the streets for 2 years, and I had no choice but to eat McDonald's most of the time. You know, and even not having the knowledge I have now, not that I know anything, I somehow made love to that. I somehow alchemized that. And I actually became healthier being homeless, eating less, and for all intents and purposes, eating crap. Okay? Things are not the same anymore. Things are not the same anymore. Once you know something, once you become aware of something, something inside your DNA changes. You know? Water, the same way. You know, I mean, if I am so affixed on, oh my God, I gotta buy this bottled water, to me that's almost a form of resistance. Okay, you can't get too attached to anything. Divinity is divinity. If what you said at the top of the show, if everything is the same energy, then what am I? Well, there's no separation. Doesn't just mean between me and another human being. It means me between me and a cup of coffee. This is all the same thing. This coffee cup is the same thing. You know, this spam container is the same thing. Everything is the same thing. So we're in a quantum part of this deal now. We've moved into a situation. Look, you talked about healing at the top of the show. I had a condition physically from about the time I went homeless. I watched it dematerialize earlier this year. I watched it absolutely disappear. It took conscious effort, and that's just an example. You know, you can do that with any part of your life. You can transform any part. We're transformers, right? That's what is an alchemist and a magician. You're transforming. You're transforming the illusion of something that's not pure love into pure love. You know, it's like Play-Doh. It's like cosmic Play-Doh. What do you want to make today?
Food then it doesn't really matter to you? Live food, raw food, meat?
I think it matters. I think each person has to make up their own mind. Everyone's affected by what they hear. You know, I have a friend. I go to her house. She says a couple things to me. I start to think, oh, I can't do that. I can't do that. I start going on my own. I start talking to me, my higher self. My higher self says, F that. F that. You do what aligns with you. You know what's right and what's not right. Okay?
For you.
For me. And that's not a substantiation, and that's not a rationalization. You cannot bullshit the universe, and you are the universe. So you can sit here and say, hey, you know I can smoke cigarettes all day long. I smoke. You know, I like to drink a little whiskey. You know, I like to eat, I don't eat a lot of meat, you know. But I mean, I would put it this way. Some people are going to go through ascension a certain way. Whatever you receive from the universe, you see a lot of people like myself sharing things that they've received, right? I've always understood that whatever you receive is meant first and foremost for yourself. Are there some universal truths in it? Yes. But is it verbatim for everybody? Hell the fuck no. It's not. Okay? So everybody's got to handle their own shift. All right? And the way I look at it is, if I'm focused on you, and you, and preaching to you, and you, guess what? I'm not focusing on me. There's a part of me that is out there that is not in here. And the key to the highway here is, if I'm 100% focused on me, and it's never them, and it's always me, then I'm going to be the best I can be, and I don't have to say a damn word. My energy will speak for itself, and my energy will transform as the transmitter that it is. You know, receiving and giving, because to me that is the holy triad. You got the universe, comes here, and then goes out. to others or the external, right? So it's all right there.
All right. What about urine therapy?
What kind?
Urine therapy.
Urine therapy.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about urine therapy. The only thing I know is I read a long time ago in Dear Abby, like 30 years ago, that if you get athlete's foot, to go in the shower and pee on your feet. And it works, by the way. I don't know anything about urine therapy.
Okay. What about exercise?
Well, obviously it's important.
It is?
I think it's important. Yeah. There's no doubt. You know, I think part of the deal about what I said, I'm only going to be Todd Medina one time. Now, by the same token, I'm only going to have this body one time. I've heard a lot of different views on this. I really believe that we are transcending physical death. I believe that's what the species is doing. I believe the species has actually stepped into whatever the situation was, whether there was interference or, illusion or whatever the case was. We flipped it and we're limitless. So I don't think you can get drunk and disorderly. I think physical exercise, look, walking for 7 years put me in the best shape of my life. There's a lot of ways. I think it's important. There's no doubt about it. But by the same token, I believe because we're quantum, because things have moved so rapidly, I believe that our potential is limitless. Not down the road. We already know we're eternal. We already know we live forever. We already know that. But I think this species itself, this human soul hybrid species, this species that has got more universal seeds, if not all universal seeds, like no other species ever has before, okay, is the darling of the universe, is the opportunity of the universe, and that we can actually transcend individually and quite possibly collectively take this into a dimension the universe has never seen before, where we just bypass the illusion of physical death. Because really, what is the hardest thing to overcome in terms of separation and illusion is death. There is no death. Think about it. We come into the world free and we go out in a box that we got to pay for. It's like a joke. It's a joke, which is usually the way the universe teaches you. It's always like sitting right in front of your face, right? That's why I say we're like the dog chasing its tail.
What about sunlight?
I think sunlight definitely is, and again, it's all about what you believe. Placebo. Why does the placebo factor? Why is that a beyond a phenomenon? I go back to what you said at the beginning of the show. How do we know that what I'm looking up in the sky isn't just an overlay? How do I know that? I don't know shit. Okay? I remember I was in Sedona, and believe me, I've communed with the stars and the moon and the sun. I've seen spaceships. I've been visited. My wife and I have been visited, materialized in our room, in our bedroom, galactic family, star family, whatever you want to call it. I've seen angels. I've seen whatever. How do I know what the hell that is? Whatever it is, it's an aspect of me, as you're an aspect of me. Oneness is oneness is oneness. I don't know how we set this thing up. Sometimes I think we were just stuck in a video. We said, let's get out of here. We're all up there, a big star. It's the perfect tone, the perfect wavelengths and frequencies and vibrations. And I always say, you know what? Let's do something a little bit different because we got this forever. Well, how do we know we just push a button, jump into a simulation and video game? I don't know. So back to your question, yeah, I'm gonna go sit in the sun today. It feels good, you know. It feels good. Have I seen things come out of the sun? Absolutely, you know. But I'm not gonna get caught up in the literal aspect of anything. I know people that send me pictures and say, "You see the spaceships coming out of the sun?" No. Yes. Does it matter? No, that's not the story, man. This is the story. We're the story. But I do think that the sun offers something. But I really think that sun up there, if anything else, is a reflection of the sun within inside of us. You know what I mean?
Okay, and the last one I want to ask you about then is sexual energy.
Powerful. That's a powerful subject. Very powerful subject. That is the, this whole trip, there is a non-physical and physical integration. If you think about what ascension is, or expansion, or awakening, or whatever you want to call it, it's about integrating polarities, integrating dark and light, integrating, left and right, So you have this realm, this fishbowl of a realm that is unlike everything else out there. What I mean by that is, you had this dark energy, you had this matrix, you had this. We can talk about all that conspiratorial stuff. What I'm trying to get at is, where were we suppressed the most? Where were we suppressed the most? In the physical body was in the root chakra. All of our major traumas are stored in the root chakra. What are those? They have to do with sexual molestation, rape, all that stuff. Sex is taboo. We're told sex is bad. Our sexual energy is our power. That is our physical expression of our power. And there's no question about that. I can speak from personal experience, having been, a very virile man, had a very wide, full sexual life. I went celibate at about 50. I met a partner who was celibate, and we are learning about sacred sexuality now. Sacred sexuality is huge. It's the magic box. It's the genie's lamp, and it looks nothing like sex. And on top of that, we have sacred sexual encounters, which we may be sitting next to each other on a couple of beach chairs, and that energy is the creative life force. The energy that's produced from that is a creative life force. She's often told me, when you get to this frequency, that's when you need to go to work. That's when you need to connect. That's when you need to. Sexual energy is us. Sexual energy, to me, sacred sexual energy, is the free energy of the universe Tesla talked about. That's what it is. That is an entire show in and of itself. That is. It's just. It is. Period. And again, it's a dog chasing its tail, because everything that was set up and had us look away from that. Everything from masturbation to the externalization of sex. Go watch some porn. Look at her body, look at his body. Everything's out there, but it's really in here. So you're talking Kundalini, you're talking Helios, you're talking sexual transmutation. If you look at it from a human to a non-physical creation level, you take that sexual energy and you transform. It's just beyond Tantra. It's beyond Kama Sutra. I mean, this is the physical evidence of creation is our sexual energy. But that's two shows, if you ask me. Powerful category though, no doubt. That's a great place for people to explore. And I would tell you this too. There's a lot of talk about twin flame, soulmate, and all that. I can only tell you that, and I think you'll see more of this. It only makes sense that when we balance internally the divine marriage, divine conscious union internally, we do discover our sacred sexuality. And as everything is in this transition we call ascension, it's starting to take an external or physical aspect. So what I'm saying is I've living proof that, we come from an environment of let's fuck first and then be friends. We're now in a situation where that's secondary or third or fourth or fifth. Believe me, and that's not a cliche, and that's not some pie in the sky bubblegum BS. I'm living proof. I'm living proof that, and I've only touched 1% of it. I'm telling you, it is an amazing subject and doorway that this world is just cracked the door open now. And I think you're going to see a huge surge of sacred sexual connections. And I don't just mean romantic. I mean where the sexual energy is connecting between two people without them thinking, oh, she wants to get in my pants, or oh, I want to do her. No. And we've all experienced that on the internet. Where we're like, oh my God, I know you from a past life. Oh my God. I mean, how many times have people fallen in love on the internet? It's crazy. But that's the divine energy, the divine mirror that we're recognizing in each other, and it has an incredible sacred, sexual, energetic, force. So, great question. I'm going to steal that one.
Awesome, Todd. Thank you so much for your time today, man. I'm glad we made this relationship. I look forward to interacting with you more.
Yeah. I'm always at your service. It's a pleasure to serve with you. I admire what you're doing, and call me or let me know if I can help you in any way. And as we get the network launched, I'll be knocking on your door. Just develop as much material as you can. And that way, when we plug you in and you're ready for your own channel, you can plug in and have a 24-hour channel running on the Soulgy network. And we'll keep pushing this 5D commerce and superabundance, sharing it with all of our brothers and sisters in the world.
Thank you, man. Thank you for the invite.
Yes, sir. No problem. Thank you for having me on.
Awesome.
You take care.
Thank you.